lesson is going to be on angles formed by transversals. So first we need to talk about what a transversal is. And a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. So in this figure, we have line L and M, and you have line T intersecting both of those. So that would make line T a transversal, intersecting both line L and M. So when that happens, we have multiple angle pairs that are going to be formed there. Angle pairs, so think two different angles. So again, in all of these figures, you have lines L and M and transversal T intersect. Now think of that transversal T as like splitting the figure into two different figures. So in this case, I have the left-hand side of my transversal T, and I have the right-hand side of my transversal T. And sometimes you might have like the top and bottom side of your transversal T. We also have two other regions. We have the inside. So in between the two lines that it's intersecting, we have the inside. And we also have the outside of the two lines that it's intersecting. And that's going to come in handy when it comes to defining the location of these angle pairs. So corresponding angles is our first one. Corresponding angles are angles that are on the same side of the transversal and in the same position. So what that means is that if I were to make these parts movable, and if I were to take line L and slide it down to sit on line M, those four clusters of angles sit on the other four clusters of angles, and those angles that sit on top of each other would be corresponding. So an example of that would be like angle 1 and angle 5, because they're both on the left-hand side of transversal T and both on top of line L and M respectively. And again, if I were to take line L and slide it down, 1 would sit on top. I could also do 3 and 7, because 3 and 7 are both on the right-hand side of transversal T, and both on the bottom of line L and line M, respectively. Another one would be 2 and 6. So 2 and 6, both on the right and both on the top. And finally, you would have 4 and 8, both on the left and both on the bottom. So same side, same position are your corresponding angles. All right? Alternate interior angles are going to be angles that are on the inside. So again, I showed you the inside on the figure above. So that would be in between your two lines, and they're on the interior. They are non-adjacent, which we know what that means from before. That means they are not touching. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal. So they cannot both come from the left, and they cannot both come from the right. They need to be split. I have to choose from inside on that orange region. So one of them could be angle 4. It's on the inside, in between lines L and M. Now, I have to be non-adjacent, so not touching. So I can't be 3, because if I'm 3, 4 and 3 are touching. And so my only other option would be angle 6, because it's the only one that is alternate or opposite on the other side of the transversals. So notice how one's coming from the left and one's coming from the right, and it can't be angle 3 because that would be adjacent, and by definition it's supposed to be non-adjacent. But for the 3 and 5 are your final alternate interior pair. Just like alternate interior, we have a pair called alternate exterior. Exterior is going to be on the outside of your lines L and M. And again, we still have our left and right side to decide alternate or not. So they are exterior angles. They are still non-adjacent, so they're not touching. And they are on opposite sides of the transversal. So an example of that, if I choose angle 1. Well, the only other angle on the outside is 2, 8, 7. 8 doesn't work because it's on the left-hand side with it, and it's got an opposite side. 2 doesn't work because it's touching it, so that leaves me with 7. So 1 and 7. And likewise, 2 and 8. All right, our last type are called consecutive interior angles. So we're going to be on the inside. So in between lines L and M. And they're going to be on the same side of the transversal. So when we're looking at our left and right, and you're both looking from the left or both looking from the right. So an example of that would be, if I choose 4, the only angle on the inside, and this is on the same side, so on the left, would be angle 5. 4 and 5. And lastly, I can choose 3 and 6. Alright, so just take like a little mental note picture of where all those figures are. Hopefully the colors are helpful in organizing. If not, sorry there. Let's try an example. So this time our figure is flipped. We still have a transversal, in this case it's R, because R is intersecting P and intersecting Q. Now, my figure is not going to have a left and right of my transversal. My figure has a top and a bottom of my transversal. I still have an inside region. My inside region is going to be in between the yellow and blue lines. And my outside region is outside of those 2 lines. Alright, so our first one. Our first one are angles 1 and 8. They are on the outside. The only one that says outside is alternate exterior, so check and see if they're on opposite sides of the transversal. One is on top, one is on bottom. So they are. So these would be considered alternate exterior. Alright, our next one is 2 and 3. 2 and 3. They're both on the inside. So if they're both on the inside, I'm thinking either corresponding or alternate interior. Oh, no, not corresponding, guys. For consecutive interior or alternate interior, because they both have interior. And if I look, they're both on the top of my transversal, which means they're on the same side, so consecutive interior. If they were on one top and one bottom, then you could be alternate interior. Alright, we have 5 and 7. One's on the inside, one's on the outside. The only time that that happens is corresponding. So check and see if they're both in the same position. They are both on the left-hand side of line P and Q respectively. And if I took P and slid it to sit on Q, 5 would sit on 7. So these would be considered corresponding angles. And our other one, 2 and 7. 2 and 7. Well, they're both on the inside, and they're on opposite sides of the green transversal. One's on the top and one's on the bottom. So inside, opposite sides would be alternate interior. And then we have 1 and 3. You guys go ahead and pause that video and answer the question I asked you what you think it is. Alright, you should have come up with corresponding. They are on the top of your transversal and on the left-hand sides of the lines. And our last one would be 6 and 7. You guys go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure out what that is. Alright, and you should have got consecutive interior. They are both inside the 2 lines and on the same side of your transversal. So on the bottom and then the